This is coffee number 5. I'm your host, Lara Schmoisman.
Hi everyone, welcome back to coffee number 5. Today I was thinking fashion because the summer and you want to change your looks maybe. You change your hair. I don't know if you guys saw that I changed my hair too. And that comes in the air and it's the seasons that they change. And sometimes we can do so many little tweaks to what we're wearing. And that makes a huge difference. And like you guys know, for me, it's all about shoes and sunglasses. And those are accessories. And accessorizing is so important. And a lot of people don't even realize that that's part of fashion, or it can make such a drastic change of something you're wearing. So today I brought a good friend and an expert, Karen Giberson. Did I say it right?
Oh, it's Giberson, but
Giberson, yes.
Wrong, no worries.
Yes. So Karen, she is the president of the Accessory Council, and also she's the editor-in-chief of the Accessory Council magazine. Did I say it right, all of that?
You did indeed.
Okay, perfect. So Karen, thank you so much for being here. I'm ecstatic of talking to you about accessories and the accessory industry.
Well, we have so many amazing categories to pick from. There's always something fun happening. So accessories aren't just your handbag. Like you mentioned, it happens to be, really could be anything from your head to your toe that isn't your clothes. Yeah. So hats, hair accessories, jewelry, scarves, ties, anything that, kind of helps accentuate the outfit all the way down to the tootsies.
And but it's hard to accessorize. It's really hard sometimes because how do you know something matches or it doesn't match or something goes well? You have to have that eye to accessorize well.
Well, I think first and foremost, accessories are a safe place to experiment. It's a safe place to experiment with trend, with color. A lot of things have different purposes. So one buys an accessory for two reasons: function or fashion. So function, I may buy a hat because I want to protect myself from the sun. I'm buying sunglasses because I want to protect myself from the sun. I might buy a certain kind of bag because I want to be organized. So you can take a functional approach to what you buy, or then you can take the fashionable approach that says, I have a basic black dress and I have to go from my office to an evening event. And by simply changing out your jewelry and your bag, you can take a basic outfit and go to a glam event. So I think it's a little bit about using them for strategy and using them to have fun and be playful.
What I love about accessories is that you can really make an outfit your own.
The difference between, statement making images, like look at what you do on social. If you see someone that really catches your eye, it's usually the accent pieces. It's their, it could be a wonderful scarf that they're wearing. It could be, a beautiful barrette or, a piece of jewelry that really catches your eye. So I think they're essential elements.
Yeah. So how did you get into being the president of Accessory Council? And I mean, this is an incredible journey you had here and with a lot of knowledge. So tell us a little bit about your story and how did you get here?
Well, when I was coming out of college, I had a degree in theater arts and communications. And honestly, running a trade association wasn't even something that I thought was a job. Like, it would never have occurred to me to say I want to work in that field. But I did get a job working at Macy's, and I went through their executive training program. And I was, I was in the store line for a while, in the buying line. I got a job working in the sterling silver jewelry department. And so I was already experiencing a wonderful, I was having a good time in retail, but I loved working in jewelry. I loved the vendors. I loved learning about, metals and stones and meeting the designers. Like I really hit something that I was passionate about. And then I had the opportunity to go work at QVC. And that was kind of a perfect meld of my education. So communication, theater arts, and here is retail live on TV. So there I worked in a lot of categories, but really found a spot in the accessories world. And at that time, it was kind of the earlier days of QVC. We had such a broad assortment of product from comfort to really beautiful, bold fashion items. We worked with designers, and we worked with a lot of items that had very specific functions. And again, just loved the industry. I loved the people that I worked with. But early in the day at QVC, people don't want to sell product to QVC. Now it's, a bona fide retailer. But back then, there was a lot of skepticism about selling on TV.
Well,
And
QVC, it's hard even for emerging brands because of the quantities and the margins.
yeah, it's quantity, it's margins, it's returns. It can be one of the most amazing outlets to sell because you're it's a little marketing along with the sales because you're talking about the item, you're describing it. But mostly it was image at the time. People didn't want to put their product on TV. And I got involved with the Accessories Council while I was a merchant at QVC because I saw a little teeny ad in Women's Wear Daily saying there's a group was being formed. And I felt that, and this would be a piece of advice, that it's much harder to say no to someone if you know them.
Yeah.
So people were going to say no to me. They were going to have to listen to me and they were going to have to look me in the eye instead of just being an anonymous voice on the phone. And if you think about all the emails that you get and all the calls that you get, if you want to,
I don't have the time to answer to everyone, but I will make the time for someone I know.
Right. So that was my goal. It was like, I'm going to network with as many people as I can, and hopefully they'll listen to me and at least give me, no may still be the answer, but it will be, at least they'll have heard the reasons why. And you know what? I networked my tail off. I got some no's, but I also got yeses along the way too. And it really was helpful.
Yeah, well, and let's talk about the yes and no's, because sometimes we take the no's very personal and we don't realize that the other company might be going through something, or they just don't have the budget, or they don't have the allocation for that budget. So I always say never burn bridges. Just keep that relationship and say, okay, I'll talk to you later.
No doesn't mean never. No
Exactly.
just could be for now.
Exactly.
And it's about maintaining communication, relationship, and, things change. The staff might change. The positioning of the brand might change. Yours might change. Plenty of people change their mind, even today, do things with us when the time is right.
As I got involved with the Accessory Council, I never even knew that something like this existed. And then, there are so many wonderful people involved. So many designers and entrepreneurs that they're trying to get their brand out there. So how the council can help them?
Well, business is harder than ever. And the council offers a number of different programs and opportunities to their members, to our members, to help you grow your business. And in fact, we only want members who are going to participate. If you just sign up and you think it's all going to come to you, it doesn't work that way. You have to attend. We have educational events often. We encourage you to attend them. We have networking events. When people show up, magical things happen that, we could not have guessed. You may meet someone who becomes a client, or we see a scarf company meet a handbag company, and all of a sudden there's a collaboration.
I love collaborations.
Yeah.
Are the best.
So, networking is pretty powerful. I love that, we're doing in-person events again. So, education is part of it. Mentoring is part of it. We have a few awards programs. We have something called our ACE Awards, which we just had. That's a networking and press event. But we have our Design Excellence Awards coming up. That's about honoring product and really giving the companies who participate a tool to help stimulate sales and start a social conversation about their product. We have a newsletter. Communication is really important. We put all of our opportunities out once a week, and it's pretty easy to participate and sign up. Most everything we do for our members doesn't cost anything. Once you're a member,
How is different to market besides the different processes or designs and development that you have for accessories than fashion? Where is the difference in the market?
Well, in some ways, there is no difference. And in other ways, it's light years apart. So, it depends on the category. If I'm talking about optical, if I'm it's a nice pair of sunglasses, but it's also a medical device.
Yep.
So there's a different market if I'm talking about that. Jewelry, is it fine jewelry? If so, and you're using gemstones, there could be different laws and regulations in fashion jewelry. So there are nuances to each of, to many of the categories that are different than I'm making a shirt. But beyond that, I think that the biggest and most important thing about accessories, they always fit.
Yeah.
When you go into a store, usually you see accessories on the first floor. They're margin builders if you're in retail. Accessories are something that can be sold in many, many places beyond traditional, fashion stores because, you could be in a gift shop and find a rack of reading glasses or a bookstore or, a giftable wallets. We're very giftable. It's because of the fit nature. It's easy to be in gift stores, not just fashion stores. So the categories are very versatile.
There is something very interesting that I noticed in my years working with the fashion and accessories industry, that fashion is not something that you promote or you advertise on television a lot. Why? Why is that?
TV advertising production is very, very expensive. I think for most of the companies that there just isn't, the margins. Now, there are certain jewelry companies that do an amazing job advertising on TV.
I think that they're more like retail chains that...
Yeah, it's mainly jewelry. People like Pandora do a wonderful job, or, the Signet Group, which is K's, and, those stores. Most fashion companies, not all of them, but most of them, they're not that big. I mean, it's not like mega beauty companies or mega fragrance companies that, are hundreds of millions of dollars. Most fashion brands are, much smaller.
I know so many people that they have ideas. Oh, I want to have my fashion line. Even I might have tried on a fashion line one day, or accessory lines, because it's sometimes that you don't find what you're looking for, so you dream to do one. So if you really want to do it, where do you start?
Well, it depends on the category. We see a lot of startup, and we've seen a lot of startup businesses in jewelry because it's a relatively accessible category to get started in. You can buy components, there's a lot of classes, there's a lot of availability to learn and do it yourself, and do it yourself well. I mean, we've seen people do, not hobby jewelry, but really making and starting very viable businesses right on their kitchen tables. And I would say if you drew a line back to some of the big brands today, like take a Julie Voss or Kendra Scott, they all started very small. Where other categories are a little tougher to get started in, like footwear. And the reason why is because you've got to deal with fit. You have different lasts for different sizing. You've got a relatively, even if you're ordering a small run, you're still ordering runs of shoes. So you've got to invest
probably
more.
have a minimum order to order.
Right. So those are harder categories to get started in. But, certainly people do it often if you have a passion for it. We have a few companies that have just started up footwear lines, and they're doing an amazing job. But it is a more specific,
And you need to have a specific education to be able to, and it's not that easy like taking a course that you can learn jewelry. Then when you have to do footwear design, it's a very specific knowledge.
Correct. So it depends on what category you want to start in. And, no matter what the category is, there is education, there's ways to do it. It's just about investment. And, then once you pick your category, where is the most prudent place to get started for, minimums, the price point that you want to hit. There's a whole globe out there of global opportunity of places to manufacture your things.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I've been following a lot of startup designers that they're struggling with the manufacture because they want to be manufactured in Italy. And then the cost it's really hard to gauge.
For a while, manufacturing in Italy was very expensive. I'm actually seeing some really more sensible options. Again, depending on the category, what you want to make. But there's definitely, and it depends on the region that you're in Italy. I shouldn't say no one. Few people say, made in Tuscany. It may say made in Italy, but there are, across the Adriatic coast, some amazing leather manufacturers. There's jewelry manufacturing. So it's not undoable if that's something.
What I know, it's marketing. And I know that's my part. But I know that a lot of people want to say made in Italy, but I think maybe they're going for the wrong market. It depends of the price point. Who's your target audience? Sometimes it doesn't make sense to make it in Italy.
Yeah. And, be honest with you, I have spent a lot of time in India, and I've seen a lot of made in Italy product, that gets finished in Italy and then says, made in made in Italy. So I think that transparency in your supply chain, just being honest, using the best factories wherever they happen to be, treating the workers fairly and being proud of wherever it is, whether it's in the US or Italy, or, it could be in China. There's some amazing factories and craftsmanship.
I love that you say that, because it's more about the brand story and about creating the right product for the right price for the right target market than where you say you made it.
Yeah. And I think it's also being true to your brand and your design. I mean, if your design is, Italian based art, then, you should be made in Italy. But, I don't think it matters so much anymore.
So when you have a brand, let's say I'm a startup, I came up with a few products. What do you do next beside joining the console?
Well, once a company joins, we call it like an intake session. I want to learn as much about that brand as possible. I want to know, if there's a designer to meet, I want to meet the designers. I want to understand what their target goals are. Sometimes we may have feedback for them based on the things that we see, because we're on the ground, we see things all the time. And it might be, this is amazing, but, maybe your price is a little high, or, here's some packaging opportunities for you. It's making product is only part of it. It's how you, as you brand it, how you market it, how you position it, that really can
And what you just said
All
is
right.
so valuable, having someone that is on the ground and they know all the competition and they know what's happening, because you not only know the designers, you know the buyers too.
We try, that's what we talk about all day long. And it's a body of experience that you get when you work with someone like us or other trade associations that just understand the market, because that's kind of all we do.
And how do you feel these days? Because there's so much opportunity in D2C. For us, it's better going D2C, retail, try to get a mix of both, because the margins are different.
The margins are different. One of the mistakes we see companies making is starting D2C and not having enough margin to take it to retail. I think that today you can't rely on any one answer for your distribution. I think the world has become, and the opportunity to buy our product is in many, many different places. So I think you look at your product, and I think you have to say, what are all the opportunities all around it where I have to sell this product? Does it work in mass? Is there mass distribution? Is it a department store product? How do I maximize my own website? Are there creative D2C things that maybe aren't as obvious? Like, we have some companies that are just doing charity circuits. Basically, they're showing at,
Trunk shows, and there's so many. That's something that I always advise, and I always encourage people even to talk to me before they have a strategy. What do you want to do with your product? Even when we talk about packaging, how you want to position your product? What do you want to see it in this store next to what other products? So, because that means a lot about packaging. How are you going to differentiate yourself? How are you going to stand out? And even though I believe in an omni-channel in every level, marketing omni-channel, also selling omni-channel, but you cannot do everything at the same time, because you're going to be set for failure.
Yeah. And, here's a real story. And I had a conversation with a major department store divisional yesterday. Amazing team. Like, it's the kind of store a lot of people want to do business with. And he said, we are very big about trying new brands. We really love trying new brands. We put 3 new brands in last year. That's 3.
Yeah.
Oh, and, that was exciting for them. The fact of the matter is that if you're going to go into certain distribution, is your product different than what they already have? They have to trust that you're going to be around to keep serving. There's been a lot of brands that we've seen pop up, but they don't have the fortitude to make it long.
And also remember that when you go into retail, also you're going to have to deal with the returns, also to a marketing budget that probably they're going to require from you.
And big department stores don't pay, like you're usually waiting for 60 plus days before you get paid.
At least. But also you are not going to get the margin that you expect.
Well, you're absolutely right, because there's chargebacks, there's markdowns, there's returns, there's things that, what will erode your, they'll erode your profits. And you need to factor all of that in out of the gate.
Yeah, which is great for brand awareness, but there is a lot of opportunities to succeed. Not everyone needs to be in retail. And this is a plan that you need to have, because if you think, like, for example, and this is a personal decision for each brand, I'm not giving anyone ideas here, but for example, for some brands, might not make sense all the cost of going retail, but they can put all that money in marketing and have a wonderful experience in DTC. Is it?
There's plenty of brands right now that are thriving in D2C. I do think the customers appreciate and enjoy a tactile experience with product. You want to touch it, you want to feel it, you want to see it. And some of the brands that we've worked with, what we've seen is that when they do have a retail outpost, that their sales around there, even online, will increase.
Yep.
If you draw, so, I may buy one in a store, love it, but I'm going to order it online.
And that's perfect, fine, but you don't need to be in every retail store. You can make a few strategic decisions in where you want to be.
Correct. And I think that I think that you need to do a lot of research, figure out where you want to be, and then determine what's the best route to introduce yourself to that store. Is it a personal visit? Is it a trade show? Is it, sending product? What's going to be the most successful route to you making an impression on that retailer?
And that's totally true. But also, I think what is really important when you introduce yourself to a retail is just say, okay, I'm doing this for my brand awareness. I talk to buyers all the time too, and I find out that I say, why would I invest in a company, time, team, all those things when they're not investing in themselves? They just want us to pick it up and do all the work. No, that's not going to happen.
We call it brands with fans. They want to have people, if you have a big following, it's much more appealing, because you're going to promote that you're there too.
Yeah, exactly. And you bring people to the store saying, I'm in this store. Because as you said, people want to touch it, they want to feel it, they want to try it. And many times in accessories, they can be pricey. So they don't want to order it and then have to hold it in their credit card and then have to return and all those things. So they prefer to go and try it.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, there's sometimes reasons why you buy it from a store. It could be, the store has a friends and family day, or, you get loyalty points, or you trust that if you have a problem, you're going to be able to return it a little easier.
Yeah, customer service is huge. And also, before we go, there is something really important to talk about, that when you are even starting B2C, which is a lot of work to start implementing and putting all this technology, or then when you go in retail, it's just onboarding. It's a process, and you're going to need a lot of marketing materials, or it's just not saying, hey, we buy it from you. It's not that simple.
Getting an order is only the first step. How, you ship it, you display it, you service it. We talked about packaging. If the packaging gets opened, is the selling unit destroyed? Is it easy to get in and out? Is it, things people care more about? Is it eco-friendly? There's a whole...
Oh, that's so important to be able to, if you're going to be thinking on packaging, now the trend is super important for retail if you can be sustainable.
Yeah. Less is more in a lot of cases. So trying to figure out how, one thing about accessories, apparel, pretty much, you're going to put it on a hanger, you're going to fold it on a rack. Yeah. Accessories don't always look good flat on a rack. So you've got to think about, how am I going to provide props for the store to hang the earrings so they look as beautiful as they can? Or are they going to stuff the handbag? If it's a floppy handbag,
and as you mentioned before, accessories are great gifts too, because you don't need to worry about sizing or anything. So it's, when I buy a gift, I want to look pretentious even, and I want to look nice to give a gift.
Well, we're biased, but of course we think it's a great gift category. But I'll be honest with you, way before I got into the accessories council, I have items that I've had since I was a kid that I keep. Sometimes I pull out jewelry from when I was a teenager. These tend to be items that are sentimental, that you keep forever. Maybe it's out of style for a while, but it comes back.
Yeah, and then they come back. I have like pashminas, and I have scarves from when I was a teenager, and I can still use them.
If you take care of those, they're going to last for, lifetime and beyond. So they're good investments. And, if somebody's into a brand, usually accessories are the entry-level price point into a luxury brand. The sunglasses, the scarves, the bags tend to be, an entry point if you want luxury goods. And listen, I'm going to carry my handbag and wear a belt way more than I'm going to wear a jacket.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My purse is a part of me.
Yeah.
Or my sunglasses are all over, always on top of my head. I don't know how I do it, but you're never gonna see me outside without sunglasses.
Which the optical people would tell you that's very good for your eyes.
It is very good for my eyes. Well, Karen, thank you so much for having coffee with me. This was a lovely chat.
Anytime, and I can't wait to see you in person.
And to you guys, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next week with more coffee number 5.
It was so good to have you here today. See you next time. Catch you on the flip side. Ciao, ciao.